5. I like my own personal space. 6. And I don't think I could cope with being responsible for an infant or a toddler. Also, my genes aren't worth passing on. 7. They grow up and tell you what you did wrong. 8. The last thing this world needs is another me. 9. They're expensive, loud, time-consuming, and don't smell good. Plus, I don't feel like putting my body through a year of physical hell just to follow it up with 18 years of putting my goals and career to the side to make sure it doesn't stick a fork in a socket or swallow a bee. 10. Having kids isn't for everyone. We need to get rid of this idea that having kids is the norm or what adults do, like get a job, buy a house, and have a family. I don't feel that we're on earth to tick boxes. It's about living what is true for our own evolution as a human being, a spirit in incarnation. So whatever that may look like, whether it's having a family of 6 children, me being one of such offspring, or if it's buying a clapped-out old farm and turning it into a dog rescue place, then do that. 11. Have people who don't want children. Why? 1.
That's somebody's personal list of reasons why they don't want children. It's none of my business or my place to judge those reasons or to give my opinions on it. Although I can give my opinion on it, there's not really much to say about it. I don't have much to say about their reasoning. These personal list of reasons. I just want to go over some of these comments. I feel like some of these comments were just bizarre and crazy. This one is not that horrible. Having children is the norm. It is the norm because people don't question things. You see how I was able to sit and question a statement, and I was able to actually question word for word and try to break it down. People don't question things that way, okay? It's like, I'm here, I have a penis, I have a vagina, and I'm gonna make use of it. That's it. That is about as far as the human mind goes. So it is the norm for people to have children. But for people to say it's what we are here to do, that part I don't get. I don't understand. Just like I said, in their minds, they have the tools. They're like, I have a penis and I have a vagina, so I got to use it. But they don't question why. They don't question for what purpose. People say, well, our purpose here is to procreate, but for what? For what? What is the end goal? What is it that it accomplishes? What problem are you solving? Nothing. You're actually creating more problems. You're not solving anything. You see, when people start to discuss purpose, the whole definition of purpose is a reason for something. Is a reason. So saying we are here to procreate does not give a reason why you need to procreate. So that cannot be considered a purpose. I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. I am not the brightest tool in the shed box. And I don't even know if I said that right. But I'm not. I'm not the brightest crayon in the crayon box. I swear to God. Y'all, I swear, I promise you. When it comes to school, when it comes to sitting and listening to somebody, what they call it, in college, when we have to sit and hear somebody talk, you guys, that's the quickest way to put me to sleep. So in school, I really didn't do good. I really didn't do good. Oh, but these questions that I'm asking are very, very simple. They're very simple. They're not difficult. So I don't even like to call myself intelligent, but to think that we actually consider the human species to be highly intelligent is mind-boggling, because people don't even sit to ask themselves these simple questions. These questions that I'm asking aren't difficult. I just sit and think a little bit. That's all. That's it. Parentless adults. Just remember all the sacrifices and extreme hard work the generations before you did just so you could have a chance at life, and no one even remembers them. You're insulting all those people hard work and dedicate to just end your direct bloodline. Because, yeah, I'd rather not have kids. Contribute to your species. Don't be a dead end to your heritage. Do better. I specifically wanted to highlight this comment because, first of all, this person has grammar issues. Okay. This person has issues with grammar. You're insulting all those people hard work and dedicate just to end your direct bloodline. Excuse me? Excuse me? The only way this would be acceptable grammar is if your English is not your first language. That's the only way. Other than that, you ought to not be breeding with that type of grammar if English is supposed to be your first language. Let's just get that out the way, first of all, before I even go in on this comment. Let's just clear the air with that. And now let's break down this comment to try to better understand it. We're not going to understand it, but let's try to better understand it. And let me break it down. Parentless adults. I guess he's talking about people who no longer have their parents or people whose parents are no longer alive. Okay, I'm not sure why that was important or those group of people are important. But hey, if that's who he decides he wants to make this comment for and he wants to direct this comment towards parentless adults, then by all means. Then he goes on to say, remember all the sacrifices and extreme hard work the generations before you did, just so you could have a chance at life. Why does the unborn need a chance at life? Like, I understand generations before us, all the things they went through. You know, some of them had no choice but to breed. Some of them were forced to procreate. Some of them had no choice in the matter, no say-so, had no rights, no privileges. And so no birth control, you know. So they had no choice but to procreate. So they had children. And they were forced to make sacrifices for those children. We appreciate that. I know the generation before me, my parents had a choice. They didn't come from the era of not having the choice. They had the choice. So I didn't exist anywhere. I know people want to believe that, you know, we are spirits that exist somewhere in a different realm somewhere and we needed a chance at life. But until somebody can show tangible proof of this, I'm not going to take your word for it. So I didn't exist anywhere to need a chance at life. And what the hell is a chance at life? What the heck is that? What does that even mean? My parents created me for their own pleasures and desires and their own fears of the unknown. The fear of not knowing what's going to happen to them when they get old, the fear of dying alone, the fear of being alone. That's what they had me for. So it wasn't no sacrifice that they did for me. Let's clear the air. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I don't know nobody else's story, but the majority of us, our parents came from an era where they had a choice. They weren't forced. They didn't come from an era of when women didn't have any rights. They didn't come from an era of when birth control was non-existent. They did not come from that era. So this is why this comment, he may be referring to older adults, which if they don't have any children now, they're probably not even able to have any kids. Although, we see that people are having children older and older, but still, they're much older and they're probably not even no longer interested in having children if they don't already have children. So that's why this comment kind of doesn't make any sense. But I digress. Let's continue. And no one even remembers them. Exactly. Nobody even remembers them. So what is this legacy that people keep talking about? As if they're going to be remembered. Somebody's going to remember them. And even so, like, you're dead. You're dead. You don't even know who remembers you and who doesn't. You don't even have awareness or consciousness to know who remembers you or who doesn't. So why does that even matter? It's because humans have the egos the size of the earth, the size of the planet. Their egos are that big that they are so desperate to cling on to a belief that somebody's going to remember them when they're dead. When the fact is, when you are dead, you don't have the consciousness or the awareness to know if somebody remembers you. But they have to satisfy and stroke their egos before they leave this earth. Okay, next line. You're insulting all those people hard work and dedicate. How can you insult people who have no awareness and have no consciousness? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? It's not possible. Okay. To just end your direct bloodline because, yeah, I'd rather not have kids. Bloodline is meaningless. This whole notion of a bloodline, of a legacy, is completely meaningless. It's a chasing of the wind. It means nothing. Why? Because once you're dead and gone, you don't have the awareness or the consciousness to be aware of a bloodline. And it's very possible, too, that the people that you did create can go on to further not create anybody, thus still ending your bloodline anyways. Which it won't even matter because guess what? You're dead. You are dead. Humans refuse to live in reality. They want to live in a fairy tale. They want to tell themselves lies because it's comforting. But to me, what's comforting is knowing that nobody will remember me. That to me is comforting. The truth is more comforting for me. I don't want to live in La 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 Land. I don't want to live in Delulu Land. It's not comforting. I don't want to know that I'm leaving somebody behind on this horrible planet where natural disasters, diseases, illnesses, government tyranny is rampant, and I'm leaving them behind in this world, or because I just need my bloodline to carry on. That would absolutely terrify me. I would not be at peace in my deathbed, knowing that. Next line. Contribute to your species. Don't be a dead end to your heritage. Are you talking about the same species that would allow me to be homeless and hungry on the streets while they throw away food and leave empty houses on the market? Is it the same species that you speak of? Or is it the same species that has their hand out for every little fucking thing, waiting for payment for every single thing? If I want to get my car fixed, the mechanic, if I want to go to the doctor, to the dentist, to the goddamn beach, I have to pay this same species just to live. Is this the species that I should be contributing to? Is this the same species that I should ruin my body and put my life and health at risk for? This can't be the same species you're talking about. I could understand if we were actually living peacefully amongst each other, we were actually helping one another. You know, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch your back type of thing. The way my mother used to live when she was a little girl in Haiti. My grandmother used to sell meat. That's what my grandmother was known for in her village. She sold meat. But if somebody didn't have money to pay her for the meat, then they had to offer services. They had to offer her services. They would come work her farm. She also had a farm too. They would come work her farm for a couple of days and she would give them meat. Or they would come clean her house for a few days, cook, do laundry, and she would offer them meat. And that's how they used to live. So if that's how we were actually living in this society, and we weren't charging people just to go to the freaking beach or just to do whatever. Like if I wanted to go to the mechanic and the mechanic said, guess what? I'll fix your car if you cook for me and my family for the next month. Guess what? I could probably tell myself, you know what? This species is worth contributing to. This species is worth me sacrificing my unborn children too. Because that's what we are, sacrifices at the end of the day, because we were brought here to work and die. So we are a sacrifice, in case you didn't recognize that. So yeah, I mean, if we as a species were living like that, I could probably see myself doing it. Probably not. More than likely, no. I still wouldn't contribute to this motherfucker. But you know, let's just go ahead and play along with the scenario. I still would sacrifice to it because it still serves no purpose. Even if we were living 100% at peace with one another and we were all working together as a society, it still serves no purpose for us to be here. All we are doing here is eating, shitting, being government slaves, and working. That's what we're doing here. We're not serving any grand purpose here. So I still would not see the point, but I'll play along. I'll play along. You know, if people were living like at peace with one another, you know, maybe more people would be willing to contribute to the species. But that's not what we're doing here. We're competing like rabid animals against one another. exploiting one another. The people who are kind, gentle souls are being used and abused. And the people who are narcissistic baboons are the ones that are being praised in society. So what kind of society are you talking about contributing to? Not one that I even care for, to tell you the truth. To be real honest, I don't even care about this species. And being a dead end to a heritage, what heritage are you talking about? What heritage are you talking about? There will be plenty of people in my heritage who still want to continue. I just don't care for it. Me personally, I don't care for it. Those of us who don't want children are a very, 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 very small percentage. And then you have the percentage of people who can't have children, the childless people who are unable to have children for whatever medical reason or financial reasons. Some people, they're like, I'm not in a financial position to have children right now at this moment, but it is something that I want to do. But those of us who are child free and who claim that we just aren't going to ever do this, ever procreate, are a very, very, very small percentage of people. I promise you, if we were to do a poll of the whole world, we are a small percentage of people. I wouldn't even say we're 10% of the population. This is just me assuming and guessing. I wouldn't even say that we're 10% of the population. But people act like this 10% is just going to make such a huge dent. Well, now they're talking about low birth rates. And low birth rates are just so... I'm not even going to get into the low birth rate talk. It's just stupid. It's just people not wanting to bring immigrants into their country because we have high birth rates in places like Africa, India. Those places have high birth rates, but the countries aren't willing to immigrate. Well, United States has allowed some African immigrants and Indian immigrants into the country. And Middle Eastern, but they're fighting against it. They don't want that. They want the people of the country to contribute more, but we're not going to get too involved in that. And then it says, do better. Do better. As if he said something that was just so enlightened. Clint Lewis, you sound like a complete idiot. And it sounds like you're a man. And most of you men have no idea what women go through. You're completely clueless about what women really go through to bring life into this horrible world. A woman can lose her goddamn teeth being pregnant. There's so many things that could go wrong, but you guys think it's a piece of fucking cake. Yeah, let's see you squeeze a watermelon out of your dick. Let's see that. I'll pay money to see that. Cash money. And let's see how much fun you're having. Let's see how much you're thinking about your generations before you and all the sacrifices they made. Let's see you think about contributing to this species. If you were treated like a farm breeding animal, none of these things will be on your mind, okay? You will be looking to preserve yourself because you're a man, let's be clear. And most men are self-preserving, and they should be. They should be. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't expect for women to make all the sacrifices to bring more life into the world, and you're naming all these meaningless things as a reason to want to continue to procreate. And these things mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. I feel like you could do better, Clint, and provide something else of substance. I can't think of any personally because I don't care about none of this shit you're talking about. None of it. But I feel like you can do better. I feel like you can come better. I don't even want to look at the replies. I don't want to look at the responses. I can share the link to the video if you guys want to go through the comments. Feel free to do so. They going off on his ass. They going off on his ass. Yes, they going off on his ass. But I digress. This video is getting way too long, way longer than I wanted it to be.